Yo, what's going on everyone, and welcome to my Pokemon VGC 2015 team overview video. Today, we will be discussing T-Laloc's first place Mexico Regionals winning rain team. This team incorporates interesting Pokemon such as Mega Kangaskhan, Politoed, Ludicolo, Ferrothorn, Gardevoir, and even Zapdos. But before we begin, I want to remind you guys to be sure to let me know down in the comment section things that I did right or things that I did wrong in this video, as well as, what should I incorporate in the next video, so on and so forth. I had a blast making this video, and I look forward to doing more in the future, but I need your responses and your guidance to do so. With that being said and out of the way, let's learn what this team is all about. Alright, so moving on to the next slide, you guys are going to notice that we actually have two charts, one on the left and one on the right. The one on the left actually indicates the team's type resistances, whereas on the right, the chart actually indicates the team's type coverage. Now, moving on, you guys should be able to easily read these charts. They are very self-explanatory and should not even require me reading through it, because that's very tedious, and it's just really not that entertaining, to be honest. So, yeah, so you guys should be able to read this. I would recommend pausing the video to get a better idea as to whether or not you really do want to use this team. For instance, if you're not very good with handling poison types or ground types, then maybe this team isn't for you. But yeah, you guys get the point. So either way, I do recommend pausing the video, as we're just going to go ahead and move on to the next slide. Alright, so moving on to the next slide, let's take a look at our very first Pokemon of the team, being Mega Kangaskhan. So right off the bat, our Kangaskhan is going to actually be level 50, holding the Kangaskhanite with the ability Scrappy. In terms of moves, we're going to be running Fake Out, Return, Sucker Punch, and Protect. In terms of EVs, we're going to be investing 248 into HP, 212 into attack, 44 into defense, and 4 into special defense, while our Kangaskhan is going to be running the Adamant Nature. Alright, so moving on, we're going to be taking a look at Mega Kangaskhan as a teammate. So first off, right off the bat, Mega Kangaskhan is a heavy offensive attacker. Due to its parental bond ability, it is actually able to hit an opponent twice, one at max power and two at half power. So that is something to keep in mind while you're using Mega Kangaskhan on this team, if you didn't already know. And according to the Pokemon Global Link, Mega Kangaskhan is the #1 most used Pokemon in the VGC doubles format as of 9/26/2015. Also, Mega Kangaskhan is a fantastic Pokemon to use as a priority outlet with access to Sucker Punch. It is able to take on Pokemon like Egg Slash and Gengar, and the majority of the time actually OHKO it due to its parental bond abilities. So once again, Sucker Punch, just all of its other attacks provide, a monstrous combo. Up next, Kangaskhan actually applies a ton of pressure to opposing teams. For instance, if you're going up against somebody and I don't know, they happen to be packing the Landorus, and they see your Kangaskhan, they're more than likely going to bring the Landorus. And, seeing how the majority of our team is actually special attackers, Politoed, Ludicolo, Gardevoir, even Zapdos, it is a great way to just bait the Landorus and then pretty much hard counter it. So it definitely does give you a lot of momentum, even if you don't want to even use Kangaskhan most of the time. So that is something to definitely keep in mind when you're looking at team previews and just getting ready for a battle with this team altogether. Moving on, Kangaskhan is an incredibly difficult Pokemon to predict due to its mainly diverse move pool. According to the Pokemon Global Link, you can see the screenshot on the slide that we're currently on. 85% of the time, Kangaskhan's gonna run Fake Out. 76% of the time, it's gonna run Sucker Punch. 62% of the time, it's gonna run Low Kick. You guys get the point. This thing is very hard to predict. The majority of the time, it's gonna be running Fake Out and Sucker Punch, but those last two slots are always a mystery. You don't know if it's gonna be Ice Punch or Drain Punch or Return, Double Edge, Low Kick even. So it is definitely one of those Pokemon that you want to kind of use to your ability in terms of a fear factor, but other than that, I don't know. All in all, Kangaskhan is great. Now, moving on, Adamant Nature, it was actually the nature that we're running on this Kangaskhan. It actually allows it to deal significant damage against bulky Pokemon such as Sylveon, Amoonguss, and even Rotom Wash, whilst still outspeeding many Pokemon. So all in all, Mega Kangaskhan as a teammate is definitely the way to go. Alright, moving on to the next slide, we actually have the next Pokemon of the team being Politoed. So for this specific Politoed, we're going to be running it at level 50 with the choice specs as well as the ability Drizzle. In terms of moves, we're going to be running Surf, Scald, Ice Beam, and Focus Blast. And then in terms of EV investment, we're going to be running 252 into HP, 52 into defense, and 204 into special attack, whilst also running the Modest Nature. Alright, so just like Kangaskhan, it is now time to take a look at Politoed as a teammate. #1, Politoed is the dedicated weather setter of this team. If you didn't already know, it practically said it in the title. This is a rain team, so of course having a Pokemon to go ahead and set up the weather, in our case rain, is definitely crucial. Politoed is going to actually be running the ability Drizzle, like I mentioned earlier, which is going to actually allow for a 4-turn setup of rain. Now, most Politoeds actually run Damp Rock, so most people are going to be really surprised when you actually end up running Choice Specs and, on a whim, end up knocking out their Landorus or things of that nature. 2. Politoed actually functions as a great secondary spread attack outlet with its, attack surf. Most of the Pokemon on our team are actually resistant and really just don't care about water type attacks such as, Ferrothorn or, Ludicolo or, Zapdos. So really the majority of the time, using Surf is a very safe move while also doing minimal damage to your ally. You actually do a ton of damage with the boosted Rain and boosted Scald to the opponent Pokemon, so that's always something amazing to consider. Up next, Politoed actually synergizes fantastically with Ludicolo due to Ludicolo's Swift Swim ability. As soon as Politoed gets up the rain with its ability, Ludicolo just goes to town. It just goes to town. It outspeeds everything, Ice Beams everything, Surfs everything, Scalds everything. Really, Politoed and Ludicolo make for an excellent water core in terms of this rain team. Also, in conjunction with weather, Politoed also provides amazing stab conditions, like I mentioned, automatically getting up the rain, having specs, having stab water type moves. It just unleashes monstrous damage. Like seriously, calc Politoed up against anything in VGC with the rain terrain activated, and you'll see how much damage this thing actually does. So that is something to always keep in mind, that Politoed is not a threat to mess with. Whether you're using it or going up against it, do not underestimate its ability. Up next, Politoed is primarily a bulky rain setter. Rain's power to boost Scald lets Politoed invest EVs into defense. We actually are running 52, 50-ish, I can't remember, into defense, without losing out on too much power. Not to mention, Modest Nature is practically an overkill, and as I mentioned earlier, most people expect Damp Rock on Politoed, but we're gonna actually be running Choice Specs, because that's just overkill, and it's fantastic. Alrighty, so up next is our Ludicolo. We're gonna be running it at level 50 with the item being the Assault Vest, ability Swift Swim, as well as the moves being Fake Out, Scald, Ice Beam, and Giga Drain. In terms of EVs, we're gonna be running 100 into HP, 68 into defense, 188 into special attack, 4 into special defense, and 148 into speed. I know, a pretty complicated EV spread, but on top of that, we're gonna also be running the Modest Nature, so, whatever. Alright, so let's discuss my boy Ludicolo. Ludicolo as a teammate. Up first, he is the dedicated weather abuser of the team, of course, with the ability Swift Swim. He pairs marvelously with Politoed and its ability Drizzle, and Ludicolo just goes ham on everything. It Ice Beams everything, it Scalds everything. It's just monstrous. So, Ludicolo, Politoed, best bros. Also, I'm pretty sure that the owner of this team actually used Ludicolo over Kingdra because of all the fairies that have been running around in the format. We have Gardevoir, Mega Gardevoir, Sylveon, and even Slurpuff. I have seen Slurpuff here and there, so I'm just assuming all around Ludicolo has better coverage than Kingdra. It's a little bit more diverse than Kingdra in my opinion, so I don't know. I agree with what the owner of the team did and actually opted to go Ludicolo. I feel like that's a lot better. Also, Ludicolo's set has enough EVs and speed to actually outrun a Scarf Landorus as long as the rain's up, and as well as the 188 EVs into the special attack, because we do want a chance to be able to OHKO bulky Mega Salamence. So that's basically the gist of Ludicolo. Ludicolo. Haha. Alright, so up next, we're going to actually be running Ferrothorn on this team. This Ferrothorn is going to be set to level 50 with the Rocky Helmet item, as well as the ability Iron Barbs. In terms of moves, we're going to be running Power Whip, Gyro Ball, Leech Seed, and Protect. And then in terms of EVs, we're going to invest 252 into HP, 148 into attack, and 108 into defense, as well as we're going to be running the Brave Nature. Moving on, let's take a look at Ferrothorn as a teammate. So right off the bat, Ferrothorn is just a fantastic, solid anti-meta check to Kangaskhan. Of course, with its ability Iron Barbs, Rocky Helmet, it just sets up an amazing wombo combo, and you can pretty much just taunt Kangaskhan to the point where, like, you're just setting up Leech Seed on it, and then it'll eventually want to attack you, but then, you know, it'll take all that damage from Iron Barbs and Rocky Helmet, and then, really, Ferrothorn with all that investment into defense, it's not even gonna care what Kangaskhan has to say, to be honest. Also, Ferrothorn is a solid counter to opposing rain teams because, of course, the fire nerf when, rain is set up, really that eliminates all Ferrothorn's, 4x super effective attacks. And let's say you're not going up against a rain team. If you set up your own rain, then Ferrothorn is just even more of a safe Pokemon to use and is even more of a monstrous, Pokemon to use now that you're eliminating its 4x super effective weakness. Also, Ferrothorn is just an amazing stall outlet. It has access to Leech Seed, Protect, so every other turn you're getting just more and more HP, if not every turn, if, your opponent does not decide to attack you. It is just, Ferrothorn is just a wall. It's the Great Wall of China. It's amazing. Also, Ferrothorn synergizes very well with Gardevoir, allowing pretty much a free switch in against Bisharp. Let's say you're going up against a Bisharp, and you know it just wants to Iron Head you, but wait, you have Ferrothorn in the back, so you switch out your Gardevoir, bring in Ferrothorn. Bisharp takes all that damage while you just eat it up because you're Ferrothorn. Look at that defensive investment. Look at those, I don't know, just everything. Ferrothorn's a naturally bulky Pokemon, so it's going to be able to take hits while also dealing out a ton of damage, whether it be from, Leech Seed, Residual, or like Iron Barbs, Rocky Helmet. Ferrothorn is just monstrous. It really is. Lastly, Ferrothorn is a Pokemon of Extreme, so when using it, it's either you can't touch it or it can't touch you, so be very careful when you're either using it or going up against it. Alright, so up next we have the Lady of the Hour, Gardevoir. So our Gardevoir is going to be at level 50 with the item Citrus Berry as well as the ability Telepathy. In terms of moves, we're going to be opting to run Psychic, Moonblast, Trick Room, and surprisingly Ally Switch. In terms of EVs, we're going to be investing 252 into HP, 196 into defense, and 60 into special attack, whilst also running the bold nature. Alright, so moving on, let's take a look at Gardevoir as a teammate. I hope you're standing up or you're sitting down, or at least if you're standing up, something's behind you to catch you, because these reasons are about to blow you back. So basically, up first, number one, Gardevoir is a very optimal Trick Room setter in the event of a speed crisis. What do I mean by a speed crisis? I mean Tailwind. Let's say it comes down to the point where Politoed's gone, Ludicolo's gone, there's no rain, there's no Swift Swim, you gotta outspeed something somehow, and your opponent gets up Tailwind just to try and back you into that inevitable corner, but wait, you have Trick Room, you can get it up. That's right, most Gardevoirs don't even run Trick Room, people don't even expect it to run Trick Room. I mean, it is on the list, but it's not very, very common. Actually, there's better Pokemon to run Trick Room on. I mean, there's Jellicent, there's Cresselia, people won't expect it, and that's the great part. Also, Gardevoir just synergizes so well with Kangaskhan. It provides a switch in against super effective fighting type moves, as let's say you're up, you're right, it's Kangaskhan. You got your Kangaskhan, you got your Zapdos up front against, I don't know, let's say a Terrakion, and maybe even a Mega Lucario, and you know that Mega Lucario is, spying you down, eyeing you down, and it's like, oh, he doesn't even know I have a Gardevoir in the back, so you switch out, you bring in your Gardevoir, it takes the hit. Now, Gardevoir only has a base 65 defense, so it's really not that good in terms of taking hits, but due to its resistance, it just eats it up, and let's say it gets a crit, boom, you pop that Citrus Berry that you're running. It's just amazing. So, also I forgot to mention that Gardevoir actually synergizes so well with Politoed due to its ability Telepathy. Let's say you're out there with Gardevoir, let's say you're out there with Politoed, and you really just want to go for the Surf. You need to get these two Pokemon knocked out in this turn. It is game-breaking, it is crucial. You go for the Surf, Gardevoir takes no damage whatsoever. It is so worth it. So Gardevoir as a teammate just works on this team. It just works. Like, there's not a better member that you can put on this team to like outlast Gardevoir. So all in all, Gardevoir is just where it's at in terms of this team. Moving on, let's take a look at the final team member of this team, which is actually Zapdos. So Zapdos is going to be run at level 50, holding the Life Orb while also packing the ability Pressure. In terms of moves, we're going to be running Thunderbolt, Heat Wave, Tailwind, and Roost. In terms of EVs, we're going to invest 36 into HP, 64 into defense, special attack 212, and then 196 into speed, while also running the Modest Nature. On to the next slide, let's take a look at Zapdos as a teammate. So right off the bat, let's take a look at Zapdos's, selling point, Tailwind. Tailwind lets Zapdos double its team speed for 4 turns, and like I mentioned, it's the major selling point of this team. Zapdos is great to use when Politoed's not around, when Ludicolo's not around, when there's no rain, there's no Swift Swim, and it just puts you in such a good position. Also, with Zapdos holding the Life Orb, it also ensures that Zapdos OHKOs most bulky Charizard Ys and Ferrothorns while outspeeding them. Now, keep in mind, It'll only OHKO a Ferrothorn when the rain's gone, because of course, like I mentioned earlier when we were actually going over our own Ferrothorn, while the rain's up, you're basically not even gonna do a KO it with the Heat Wave. It's just not gonna happen. Now up next, let's talk about Roost. Now, Roost provides Zapdos with instant recovery. I don't advise using Roost when Landorus is not around, because Roost actually takes away your flying typing for the turn, and it's very easy to predict when somebody's gonna go for the Roost, so I would not even advise doing that. But either way, let's say Landorus is not there, and you need that HP. Boom! Roost, it is there for you. It is there for you. Up next, let's talk about Zapdos' synergy with Mega Kangaskhan. It is flawless. It is flawless. Let's say, you lead off with Zapdos, you lead off with Kangaskhan, and you know that Zapdos just needs to get that, Tailwind up. Well, boom, you just fake out with Kangaskhan, the Pokemon that threatens Zapdos the most, and boom, you get that Tailwind up. Your Pokemon outspeed, you get that double time speed. It is just amazing. So all in all, Zapdos proves to be both a supportive and offensive threat when it comes to using it on this team, and it's just, nothing can go wrong. What could possibly go wrong? Alright, so with that being said, that is actually going to conclude this Pokemon VGC 2015 team overview. If you guys are thinking about using this team, be sure to let me know down in the comment section. A lot of effort and time went into this video, so if you could leave a like, that would be very appreciative. I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm just so hyped that I finally made one of these videos. I've been wanting to make it for so long, and I finally did, and in my eyes, it came out pretty well. Again, I'm going to remind you guys, if you do end up using this team, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Also, if you want me to improve on anything while making these VGC 2015 team overview videos, be sure to let me know as well down in the comment section. I'll be sure to get back to you on that. But with that being said, everyone, that is going to go ahead and wrap up the video. So thank you all so much for watching, and be sure to take it easy, you guys.